Hey, what's up, y'all? Got to thinking earlier. It's been a minute since I've done a football video. Football season is right around the corner. Everybody knows I'm a die-hard Auburn fan, and I'd like to speak on how I think Hugh Freeze is doing coming in as the head coach as far as recruiting and shit, and what I think our record is going to be this year. Now, a little bit of background on Hugh Freeze. Hold on just a second. Was a very, very successful coach in the SEC at Ole Miss. Last 2 years, he was there. He made a whole lot of noise. Most recognized thing that he done was made Nick Saban his bitch, our number one rival. But, man, to be honest, Nick Saban's probably the best coach that's ever coached in college football. You got to give him respect. You got to give him his props. But Alabama's not what it used to be. The NIL has completely changed that, because before, Alabama was one of the only schools that was paying motherfuckers to come and play for them, and that's why they kept getting all those number one recruiting classes. Hadn't happened no more. It's been kind of split up. Clemson started dominating recruiting for a couple of years. Then Kirby Smart goes to Georgia, becomes the head coach. Now he's dominating as far as recruiting, bringing in 5-star players. But now we have Hugh Freeze in the mix. He took over an Auburn program that was in shambles. This is the worst I've seen Auburn since probably 2012. After Gus Malzahn left as the offensive coordinator, and Gene Chizik stayed there and brought in a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. I think it was Scott Loeffler was the offensive coordinator, and I can't remember the porn stash guy's name that was the defensive coordinator that year. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but I've been smoking too much. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But now, or after that, we brought in Gus Malzahn, who I thought was a very, very good coach. Only problem was, without the right quarterback, we couldn't get over the hump. Gus built a great program, had a great defense every single year, especially under Kevin Steele, but the defense really started taking off that first year, that 1 year that Muschamp came in 2015. He was defensive coordinator. Then when Kevin Steele come in the next year and took over, we were getting there, man. We were getting back to being how we were supposed to be. And hey, Gus Malzahn had a great record against Nick Saban. Beat him 3 times in between 2013 and 2020 when he left. But now, let's talk about Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is the obvious winner in the transfer portal because the amount of quality players that he brought in. I think we only have maybe 3-4 starters left on the roster that was there last season. Now, Deion Sanders, he made some waves too, but he took over a shit show at Colorado. But Hugh Freeze was a very bright, upcoming coach while he was Ole Miss. He got in a little bit of trouble. They was accusing him of running hoes to the players, which I think there's a whole lot of coaches out there that do that shit, and it's just done behind closed doors. And that it was the week after he beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row when all that shit started happening. He started getting investigated. But anyway, I'm sitting here rambling. The job that he has done as far as bringing in recruits for this next season is almost just unbelievable from what he's done from a recruit standpoint as far as quality players and upgrades from what we did have. We had a depleted roster. We did not have a lot of talent. Brian Harsin was a shitty recruiter, and he was a shitty coach overall. That way he run his program over there at Boise State where they grow the fucking potatoes and shit, You can't come to the SEC and expect to win doing shit like he was doing at Auburn. But I honestly think this season, first year, Hugh Freeze going to make some waves. I honestly think we're going to go 9-3 in the regular season. But, I will say this, and y'all can quote me on this. I had a similar conversation with everybody about this before the 2013 season. I can also see Hugh Freeze maybe going 11-1 or 10-2 and playing for SEC championship his first year and potentially putting us in the playoffs. Yeah, that does sound a little bit over the top considering it takes a little while to rebuild the program, but the transfer portal has made that a whole lot easier than years past. Because years past, you didn't have that transfer portal and people couldn't play right off the rip. I think he's got the right players in place for his offensive system. I think he's got the right players in place for his defensive system too. He usually runs a 4-2-5 defense. Only bad thing about a 4-2-5 is you're going to get burnt on the outside on jet sweeps if you don't hit your angles right. But as far as his offense, it's a RPO offense. Quarterback has a read on almost every play. He can keep it, he can hand it off, or he can throw it. Hugh Freeze has a point to prove. I think he's already proved that to everybody with the way he's done on the recruiting trail. He's been burning it up. Just a couple days ago, he stole a 5-star linebacker from Georgia. Now we're working on a 5-star wide receiver that had been committed to Alabama since like way back in November too, just like this Georgia guy. Gus didn't really have too much of a problem with Saban. His Achilles heel was LSU and Georgia, which I have more faith in Hugh Freeze's offense because it's a more pass-heavy game as to where Gus, he's run heavy. Great coach, great guy. But you got to evolve with the times. Now, Gus did remind me a lot of Tommy Tuberville. But I honestly think that Hugh Freeze is probably the best coach we have had probably since Pat died. A lot of our Auburn fans don't like him because of what he done in the past. But, hey, people make mistakes and got to forgive people and move on. So, I'm going to say 9-3. Worst case scenario, we go 8-4. Best case scenario is we only lose one game in the regular season, get to the SEC championship. That's my hopes. I've looked at the roster from top to bottom compared to what we had last year, and we've got the guys to do it. But you got to do it as a team. You can't. It's not just one man that's gonna carry the whole team, especially not in college football. But yeah, man, what do you guys think? Auburn fans, Alabama fans, any SEC fans, what do you think Hugh Freeze is going to do in his first year? Y'all let me know down in the comments section. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the like button. Leave your comments, man. Hope y'all have a great weekend. I'm sorry it's been a minute since I've done a football video, but y'all already know I stay busy and I'm always promoting my business. But I wanted to do one, and I'm going to do a few more before the season starts. Y'all already know I'll do some during the season too. And tomorrow, that Kush Mints is dropping, so y'all be looking for that one. Anyway, man, again, y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe. Peace, y'all.